All right, it is 6:30 and we will begin our February board meeting. Let's start with Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And a moment of silence. Amen. All right, Mr. Martin.
All right, welcome to our February board meeting. First on the agenda is our consent agenda. I didn't skip it this time.
Good.
Are there any questions? Okay, with that, I'd like to make a recommendation of the consent agenda, financial report, and board minutes of the regular board meeting held on January 16, 2025, and a special board meeting held on January 22, 2025 be approved as submitted.
All right, I have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Eric, second?
I'll second.
Oh, Brian, a second. All in favor? None opposed.
Up next is our MAP data report. You know, MAP growth is it's one piece of data that we'll use to help measure our students' academic achievement level and track their growth over time. For right now, we're doing from fall to winter. And this helps us personalize instruction, identify areas that needs improvement, and highlight our strengths to help improve student outcome. Our building level leadership, our principals, they're going to share some of their MAP assessment data. They're going to share a growth, a bright spot, an area of growth, and how they're going to replicate that in their building. So we're excited to hear what they have to say. And I believe the primary is first on the list. I believe, yes, it is. So we have Miss Bennett.
Okay. So we were really happy with our MAPS data from fall to winter this year. And so our bright spot was that our first grade saw a 9% increase in students who met growth in reading and an 8% increase in students who met growth in math compared to this time last year. So our first grade team is really working hard. They did a great job. An increase in percentage of students who met growth in K2 reading is our area of growth, whereas we were pleased at how well they did. We always feel like there is room for improvement, and we would love to see some of our percentages be a little bit higher than what they were, so it's an area of growth for the whole building. How we're going to replicate it is we're going to continue to utilize our PLC process, collaborate amongst our teams, and analyze our data to inform our instructional practices. Any questions?
That's good numbers.
Up next is Ms. Bowler.
So
Here you go.
you're good. Our bright spot was that our fourth grade and math and literacy both surpassed projected growth. So, Mr. Martin a couple years ago wanted us to make sure we grew every child 1 point, which is great, but they surpassed what the projected growth was, which means that they grew kids beyond and more kids than what was anticipated before we took this. Area for growth, our third grade did not meet projected growth numbers that we would like for them to have met. So what are we going to do? I could honestly have filled that box with lots and lots of things, but we are going to do, and we already are doing, deeper digs into our standards to see like which standards exactly did we not meet projected growth on, and how did we teach that, and how can we like either intervene or go back and do a full reteach on it. We are also going to collaborate with Tillery Elementary and Rogers. They have a co-taught class and some general education classes that we're going to go watch their literacy block just to see what are they doing in comparison to what we're doing, because it's hard when you're on the team with the same people and you don't, all you see is what each other is doing. So we're going to go outside of that. So those are our top areas that we're going to work on to help us meet projected growth.
Is Tillery a place you already know of that's achieved a certain level?
Yes, and we went through their district office and their executive director of teaching and learning to get connected to their
Good.
school as well.
Great.
Any other questions?
Thanks.
All right, Ms. Allen.
Okay, so we were very happy with our MAP data. This time we got to celebrate today with our staff at our staff meeting for some of it.
But this time, both grades and both contents met their projected growth for the first semester. And looking back 2 years, we have not done that winter in all of our contents and grades. So we're very excited about that. Our achievement percentile in literacy is 16 percentile points higher than this time last year. So that's a big growth of how high our kids are coming up thanks to the grades coming to and us being able to continue to grow them. Our area of growth, we started today in our staff meeting after celebrating, looking at if we don't look at what individual students aren't meeting their growth and trying to get that number higher, we're never going to keep growing and keep that going. So our teachers are making a list of the students that were low growth, whether they were low achieving or high achieving, if they had low growth, looking to see what factors might be causing that and how it connects with our Atlas interim data that we'll have next week. So they're going to work on that for our area of growth. We're going to replicate this success. We plan to continue that PLC process of data-driven decision-making and providing clear learning targets and success criteria for our students. We've seen that has really been a key factor this year of seeing the kids grow, them knowing where they are and knowing where they want to be. So, any questions?
No, that's great. Good, 16 points.
Hey, Dr. Brad, it's your first time up here.
We have some bright spots, and I'm learning those as I go, but one of them is our freshmen. We think they're about ready to go to high school. 17-point increase in the percentage of students meeting projected growth as compared to this data last year in mathematics, and an 18-point increase in reading. Our area growth is our 7th and 8th grade groups, increasing the percentage of students who are meeting the projected growth, particularly in reading. That tends to be our challenge, and then we're going to replicate the success by using more frequent checks and then using our data wisely when our 7th and 8th grade teams replicate the success that our 9th graders are having. I think the data shows the longer they're in the building, the better.
Mr. Allen?
I think one of our bright spots that I wanted to point out, which was, I think, a little different than kind of years past, is we saw a growth in some of our reading as opposed to our math this year. I feel like it's kind of been the opposite in years past. So we were really proud of that. Obviously, that kind of brings about our area of growth, as we're going to continue to try to grow in math the same way we grew in reading. And replicating success, we plan to continue following the PLC model, but more importantly, kind of focusing on our bottom quartile, bottom 25% of students, to continue to grow them. I think, Ms. Taylor, correct me if I say something wrong here, but I think across the district, we were growing kind of our top quartile kids and not the bottom quartile. So we're going to continue to try to work on that and continue to try to get better. Any questions?
It's interesting every time there's a break and a transition of a building, right? So if we just have everybody in one building, right, should solve it.
It's just connected.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would not be total chaos.
No.
Not at all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let the record show whose idea that was.
It is interesting though to watch every
It
time.
is.
Every time there's a transition.
Yeah.
I think that with that transition, that gives us a lot of work in our office. How do we replicate in a shorter amount of time what the success is happening? And so we're really spending a lot of time on upcoming transitions, especially on students that have targeted needs, whether it's special education, language learning, behaviors. And so we're going to attack transition meetings different this spring. So we're excited in our March principal meetings. We're going to do specific time with those feeder patterns to get a better handle, I think, on kids' specific needs versus like watch out for these 10 kids or these 10 kids are your top tier. Really getting into their unique needs and seeing if that can maybe help some of that. And I also want to brag again on the junior high and the high school, and I haven't been down to the middle grades, the work they're doing in the CAP conference this year is looking very different with the personalized conversations. I saw the junior high counselors pulling kids out one-on-one, so every single student's getting their pre-conference and their parent meetings that are starting this week at the high school are just going really well. That's the work of those 4 counselors and the building teams making that happen. So I think we'll see some difference to speak to that transition maybe down the road.
Good. Good.
And I'm gonna go ahead and back next for Ms. Jennings. Ms. Jennings couldn't be here tonight, but I really wanted to celebrate and talk about the exciting things happening with career and technical education in our district.
Thank you.
I don't know if you knew before, but before we were a part of a consortia for career and technical education, meaning our CTE coordinator director was housed somewhere else, and we were a group of schools, and our funding was collaborated. So this is our first year to go independent, and Ms. Jennings is doing an amazing job. And with that lens of the communication, she's able to really highlight and showcase, as well as this fall, the career and technical education updates from the state as it ties back to LEARNs are some of the biggest we've seen in probably my career, which I'm a CTE teacher. And so we're having a lot of changes, a lot of things happen in state, even at the national level. The career, what we noted is that occupational outlook handbook back in the day, those career fields have all changed and morphed into more common terminology, and that jobs reflect the current industry versus being, so there's a lot of being historically kind of dated. So we're seeing a lot of work in this area, so I'm really proud of that work she's been doing. What we've been doing too, for a big piece of that, with it being Captown, like we said, is really making sure our website is getting a facelift and working, a big concentration on our programs, not just career technical education, but our arts and athletics. I don't know if you've noticed a difference in our website, but the content has definitely elevated this year, and we're really excited and proud of that. But what they've been doing is each pathway, career and technical education pathway, has information about the entire pathway and what to expect. But of course, to be about a video featuring our students and photos of our students doing that work in action in the class. Information about each of the student associations or clubs, DECA, Skills USA, HOSA, I was trying to think, FCCLA and all those things, so it's been great. And of course, progression chart to help them see the full pathway. So I'm gonna take over the computer for just a second and highlight that. And this has really been the work of Ms. Jennings, Mr. Cook, and the student interns have really taken on and developed our website. So all the websites are gonna look the same. It'll let me scroll. When you go, you'll see the informational video about how, I'm not gonna show it to you, but take some time and look at it. And then it talks about what's it mean, and it shows pictures, and there's a gallery of students actually doing the work with this pathway. Talks about the hands-on experiences, and then it talks about Dream Big certifications and some real-world projects, and then the student technical organization that goes with that, and then a bio on the teachers. So that's very exciting. That is for Ag Power, and I want to show you culinary real quick. I think she's got me linked to both of them. But you can access those from our main website and go to schools and see this work. But it's been a great content, and it really is getting our name of the career technical education out there, as well as outside of every classroom, junior high and high school, that ties to this pathway, is the actual work, QR code, and some of the pictures from the website taking you straight back to that. So we really worked on that. So that a lot of parents, I saw them scrolling when they were doing the parent conferences over at the junior high the other night, the Rising Parent Night. And I also wanted to highlight this graphic. So every page has an exact graphic that takes you from 8th or 9th grade through the end of the program, so you know exactly what it takes each year. So we made this graphically appealing and tried to really hone in. So with all that being said, February is CTE month, so be watching for news articles and updates on our website celebrating the great work of career technical education. And I'm excited to see our enrollment figures, because on Friday, that to be 8th graders and the to be 9th graders who are at the high school got to get into each of those programs, including fine arts and theater and visual arts as well. So I'm excited to see how that recruiting tool, along with the personalized conferences, really gets going.
Good.
So we're excited about that.
Yeah, I like the format of the webpage. That's
Yes,
nice, especially
I
the.
really encourage you to get on our website and look at it, spend some time. They've done a tremendous amount of work, and the content created by Mr. Cook and the interns is just phenomenal. So we're really
Good.
thrilled. I mean, more than beyond thrilled with that work. Great.
Yeah, and our transitioning to having an CTE coordinator on site instead of partnering with the co-op has been a blessing for us. Our teachers have more support, and our programs are able to grow more, so that's been a very good move for our district.
And the funding's up. Which is
Even
always good.
better.
I know you like that. Yeah, the funding is up. So that's
Even
good.
better. Up next, any questions?
And then identify yourself.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Up next, we do not have any board transfers. I don't anticipate any of those until probably after July, because the way the school choice laws are now, that will be our primary mode of enrolling kids from outside the district. But up next is the purchase of the school maintenance vehicle. What you have before you is a bid tab form. We had 3 dealerships give us a bid. Crane Springdale, while they are the lowest bid, that's also a used vehicle. And McCarty Daniel was at $47,000, and Lewis Ford was at $52,070. Our recommendation is to go with McCarty Daniel for $47,000. We are looking at transitioning from 1/2 to 3/4 ton vehicles to 1-ton trucks, simply because towing van trailers, football trailers, and everything is just safer. They have a larger tow capacity. We'll also be able to equip this truck with a snowplow as well for later on. That will give us 3 snowplows instead of 2, which will help us clear parking lots. We struggled to get ready for the ball game, the last snow, winter weather, and everything. And that was actually perfect snow. The plow, it was nice and heavy and dense, and it rolled up literally like a fruit roll up. But a lot of times that's not the case. So, are there any questions? This is a budget.
McCarty's is a brand new one then?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It's brand new. It is good Lord, what's it called, the 4-door truck, crew cab.
Crew cab.
It has an 8-foot bed in it. It's a 1-ton. I believe it either has a 16 or 20,000 pound towing capacity, which is far more than the van trailer is. It will allow us to go to the rental store, pick up a skid steer if we need it, or a mini axe, and tow it in without having delivery fees and stuff. So it will be put to use and used all the time. Okay, with that, I'd like to make a recommendation to purchase a 2025 GMC Sierra 3500 pickup from McCarty Daniel in the amount of $47,000.
All right, we have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Ryan, second?
I'll second.
Second, Mindy. All in favor? None opposed.
Right, thank you. Up next, we have our out-of-state trips. We only have one requesting, and this is our junior high band. In May, they were going to go to Silver Dollar City for a reward trip, and that band occurs on the 2nd, which I believe is a Friday. I've cleared it with Ms. Tabor, no testing. That's not in the testing window of any sort, so it's a good day for the band to be able to travel up there.
And you said junior high, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It's the junior high band. Senior high, y'all approved last month or the month before, I believe they were going to Dallas.
Okay, I thought so, but then I was like, hold on. So, all right.
And I believe in the past, they have gone to
Kansas City.
Yeah, what's it?
wherever world of.
Kansas City.
Kansas City.
Kansas City.
Okay,
Are they going to perform in Silver City?
I would assume they are. Yes,
Usually
sir.
they do, right?
Yes, sir.
I don't think the junior high is performing. I think it's more a reward.
Oh, it's just a-
But I could
okay.
be mistaken, but I think that the high school band going to Dallas will perform.
I think it's funnel
Okay.
cakes,
Yeah.
really, this time.
Yeah.
And right.
That's right.
I was wrong.
I mean, I could be wrong too, but I feel like that's.
It's a great reward.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Any questions? I'd like to make a recommendation to approve the out-of-state travel on May 2nd, 2025 to Branson, Missouri.
Okay. We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
I'll motion.
Motion, Mindy.
I'll
Second?
I'll second.
Second, Eric. All in favor? None opposed.
Great. Up next, we have our MOU with Arkansas Children's Hospital. This is an MOU we do every year. It allows us to have access to educational audiology services or a consultant services for speech with a speech and language pathologist. Their expertise is in hearing impaired children and everything. We do this every year. The cost is very minimal or no cost at all, but it allows us to have access to that to help the kids. So, any questions? Okay, with that, I'd like to make a recommendation to approve the memorandum of understanding with Arkansas Children's Hospital as presented.
Okay. We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion? I'll motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second, Ryan. All in favor? None opposed.
That's a good one.
All right, up next, we have our 25-26 academic calendars has to be plural. We have to have a pre-K calendar and a K-12 calendar based on the laws. So Mr. Ramey has been working with PBC and having our faculty and staff vote. And so I'm going to turn it over to him for our calendar discussion.
We would like to bring two calendars to you tonight. The pre-K calendar, Ms. Markfeld and myself met with Ms. Ryan and her team to create the pre-K calendar. Pre-K operates a little different from our school calendar. In fact, they have to go 178 days, where our academic calendar for our K-12 students is 174 days. So there's 4 additional days built into theirs that are within their guidelines and meet their rules and laws for pre-K. But Ms. Ryan's team was happy with this calendar, and so we'd like to present, it's actually no change for what they did this year. It's just a mirror for the pre-K of exactly what they did this year. So it's no change for them. On our academic calendar, we operate under the alternative calendar within the state of Arkansas. And so we must, to operate as an alternative calendar, we have to put 1,098 total instructional hours into our calendar. It's 168 hours and 30 hours of snow makeup time. And so you can see down at the bottom, each of our schools meet the amount of instructional hours that must be completed. Primary and intermediate have 1,160 hours, middle school 1,110, and the high school and junior high 1,102. And so we exceed that 1,098 that we must have. We've got our time schedules for each of our buildings built into here. But highlights of this calendar, and I'm really proud of our PBC. We had a great discussion, did a lot of work in putting this together. But we will start school on August 12th and end on May 22nd, right before Memorial Weekend. 5 days are built into this. So if we have 5 snow days, we won't have to add any time on. If we go beyond that, or we have an excessive year, then we would have to look at how we add those days back. But we do have five days of instruction built in. We have our normal fall break that we've had over the last couple of years there in October, around the 17th and the 20th, to give our students a little extended time off. We have that full week at Thanksgiving that's been a tradition for our school district, and then 2 full weeks off at Christmas. One thing that this calendar did that's new this year is we're starting school 1 day earlier than this year. We started on Wednesday. Next year we'll start on a Tuesday. And so starting 1 day earlier, we're able to create the same kind of fall break that we have in October. We were able to create the same thing in February, right around President's Day. So February 13th would be a day off for everybody, students and staff. And then Monday coming back, our staff would have a professional development. Students would be at home, and then we would pick up school on that Tuesday. So just to have that little break in February from January to spring break is a long time for our teachers and our students. It's also sick season, when we see the most illness, most absences, most absenteeism from our students. And we see discipline rise. And so we're hoping just having just a little short break there in the middle of February. You know, you've got something to look forward to from January to February. We know we'll take a couple days off. And then from February to March, we'll have spring break. And so maybe we can break that up a little bit. We can help with some attendance issues and some discipline issues and that sort of thing. So we're excited to kind of add that into our calendar for next year. Other than that, we meet all of the requirements of the state. We always try to balance our 2 semesters and get as close as we can in number of days. So first semester is 85 days, second semester is 89. And so that we're fairly close there on the number of days. It's always, it's easier. The second semester is always a little longer. So you can get a little out of balance, but this gets us really close. So, we're really proud of PBC putting this together. We had 56% of our staff vote for this one. We had 44% vote for our other one, and it was it's 1 day different on the 2 calendars. And so this was the calendar that the majority of our staff voted for, so we're proud to present it to you.
Can I ask, what was the 1 day difference?
The 1 day difference was starting on August 13th instead of the 12th, and losing that break in February.
Do we have to get, since this is the alternative calendar, do we have to get this approved by the Department of Education?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
They allow you 4 different options, traditional, year-round, 4-day-a-week, and alternative.
Okay.
The problem with having a traditional calendar at 178 is there's no Sundays built in.
Gotcha.
To make up every one. We still go the same number of hours. I'm thankful for the 1,102 hours, which is 4 hours above the 1098, and it allows us, like, a few weeks ago, we had an early exit. I used 2 of those 4 extra hours
Gotcha.
for that, so we still have one. Let's say that we know the roads will clear up by 10 a.m. We can start a little later or go home earlier if we need to and not disrupt the day. And on the pre-K calendar, the best thing on there is like our K-12 population will start August, I think, the 12th. Pre-K will start August the 11th. That's a good thing. Getting them situated and everything. So.
Okay.
Do we know how the spring break here matches up with other schools in the area?
State law requires it to be that week.
Oh, okay.
I think it's like the 36th week after the week of the 4th of July that all schools in the state have the
Got
same spring break week.
Good.
And I believe that also is.
Has it always been that way?
No, it has for about the past 8 to 10 years. Before
Okay.
then, it was a rodeo roundup.
Yes, sir.
And you would have cousins not matched up, kids at U of A or another, and families were very frustrated with it. So you had some legislation passed that
Good.
exactly
It
was.
is important to know we're in the middle of a legislative session. School calendars is one of the issues with the legislature right now. We don't think it'll affect this model, this calendar. We think 4 day a week, and some of those are under scrutiny.
Okay.
But we don't think it will change anything, but just in case law changes, we would come back to the board at a later date. We've had to do that before.
Got it.
But we don't foresee that.
Yeah. And this calendar set up basically, if they did away with the alternative, your dark blue days, I believe they're dark blue, yes, the dark blue days on the calendar, the teacher PLC work days, those are more than likely to transition back to student days to,
Got it.
if, to make that, so we would have to make as few changes as possible to still be able to keep going, because parents, as soon as we send this out, they'll be, it's vacation planning, it's what we're doing over holiday planning, all that stuff.
Yep.
Anything else? With that, I would like to make a recommendation to approve the 25-26 academic calendars as presented.
We have a motion, or I'm sorry, we have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
On motion.
Eric, second?
I'll second.
Mindy? All in favor? None opposed?
Next, we have some updates, our football field track update. You can see the road grader out there. They're finishing up grading the area. They've mobilized the asphalt machines there, the steel roller. Those things are there. I believe as soon as they get a break in the weather, where it's temperature-wise, and they will start laying asphalt. So we're on schedule. I know everybody would like for it to go faster, but we cannot. Asphalt can be put down at this temperature that it is right now. So, yes.
How's Coach Wade accommodating with the logistics to Rogers, and when they're not at the indoor, how's that all starting?
It's going well. They are busing kids to Rogers Heritage and everything. Coach Wade has been outstanding, driving the bus over there and everything. And when you go in the mornings to our indoor facility, we used to think it was the most used building. We were wrong, it's now. You have both our male and female athletes warming up together, stretching together. They are utilizing every square inch of that indoor to make sure that our kids' needs are met.
Are we letting student drivers drive over there to Rogers, like
Yes, ma'am, that would be the same, but they're not coming back. That would be the same.
Right,
Parents have to
okay.
sign off on it, and I believe no one can ride with.
Okay.
Your buddies can't go with you.
Okay.
Up next, we have first reading of policies. I emailed those to you. This is just first reading, no actions tonight. There will be more. There is a lot of motion in the legislative session, so we will be getting several more updates. And, you know, I don't anticipate it being at the same level of change as when the LEARNS Act was passed. It felt like almost every policy changed. It just changed the word LEARNS Act in there and everything, but we will have some movement in there, and you will see some changes. So we're eagerly anticipating what's coming our way. So, any questions? We should have our second reading probably in April and approval in May, I would hope. We may have to push that to May and June, but I'd like to have it approved in April and May if possible. Next is guaranteed energy savings. This is our second year since construction. To be going through this process, what we're going to talk about today is from November of 23 to October of 24. For that year, our years kind of got off with a delay in construction, so our 12-month periods aren't following perfectly with our fiscal year. You know, just to refresh our scope of work completed for the fund for that project was lighting upgrades. Now this is everywhere except for the high school. It was in construction and it already had this. But lighting upgrades district-wide, new HVAC system at our intermediate junior campuses, HVAC control management throughout the district, water conservation improvements, that's everything from foot pedals to aerators on the faucets and everything. Power factor correction at the junior high, that's where they, you know, making the energy cleaner coming into the building so it's more efficient. Building envelope improvements, that's weather stripping, just making sure we're not losing air during air conditioning in the summer and heat in the winter, and new roof systems at our intermediate junior high campuses, and high ice machine heat exchangers. When we did this project, our main goal was to get new roofs and HVAC systems on 2 of our buildings, and we were able to use partnership funds through the state to basically pay 25 cents on the dollar for the upgrades. We financed those upgrades to the Central bond, and we're using the guaranteed energy savings to pay that note. Our note is right around $160,000 a year for that, and so we'll go over that. So what we did is we upgraded our facilities with a cost-neutral solution because we desperately needed the roof specifically in the junior high. We leaked more than a little bit. We leaked a lot. And so we were able to make those upgrades. And when you look at our year 2 energy savings, from our measured energy savings from electricity demand and natural gas and water savings, we're right at $139,000. Our non-measured savings, we adjusted it to 1,000. And you have to remember those non-measured savings. It costs more to measure the savings than once you actually get back, like the roof isn't in there. You only have so much savings in electricity from a new roof, but from a repair standpoint, we're miles ahead. Operational savings, that's kind of where the roof savings are coming in, is right at $29,800. And this year we had some rebates. Furnaces for Black Hills Energy, we got around $30,800 last December, and not last December, 2 Decembers ago, in rebates. So that brought our total savings for this year, guaranteed savings, verified at $209,869, and our guaranteed threshold was right at $168, which is a saving variance of about $41,700. So we were very pleased with that. But please remember, we had $30,000 in rebates, so we will not be getting $30,000 in rebates in a year. So to put it in terms of the project so far, we're right at verified savings of $5.1 million for the project. You have to remember the partnership funds, their savings on the project and everything. With a guaranteed savings price point so far at 4.9, So right now, we're at about $153,000 in energy savings from where we thought we were going to be. So it's beneficial. Mr. Deaton, Shane is doing a great job. One of the things that you have to do is, it's electricity use. And our biggest use of electricity, it used to be computers, it's not anymore, it's the HVAC systems. So run the automated controls and making sure we stay on top of those are what drive your energy savings. With LED lighting, don't get me wrong, there is energy savings there, but nothing is comparable to the HVAC systems.
Yeah.
And running up hose when appropriate. So, good stuff there. Are there any questions?
No, I know when we did this, I was really questioning the net neutral cost on this, and I'm really impressed.
Yeah.
I'm pleased to see that it is.
We will, but you have to remember, our price points were set at the current level. As inflation takes hold and a unit of energy takes more, your savings will be about the same. We haven't seen a reduction in our bills because, well, prices have gone up for everyone else, and we added about 150,000 square feet of high school space when that came on, but it definitely gave us some cushion to that. But the main thing is we were able to utilize about $4.5 million of partnership funding for the new roof and HVAC systems at our intermediate and junior high campuses.
That's amazing.
That's it. Any other questions on that? Okay. Up next, we have our financial advisor agreement. Every 3 years, we're required by law to renew our financial advisor agreement. We've always used First Security Beardsley. They have done a wonderful job for us over, I'd say, they're at least 25 years in here that I know of. They help us with a lot of things. Some of it is, with our assessor's office, they confer, abstract changes. They help us with assessment valuations because our assessed value is changing every year. That's real, personal, and utilities. With the millage rollback, which we just did, they help us verify that to make sure it's correct. They review current past state aid notices. They consult and advise the annual school election, which we have coming up. And when we ever go out for a bond, they help us manage with that as well. I've been very pleased with them over the past, I've been in central office now for, I think, 14 years, and we've been very pleased with Mr. Lovelady and everything. Are there any questions?
I don't know.
Okay. With that, I'd like to make a recommendation to employ First Security Beardsley as financial advisor for a period of 3 years, effective as the date of adoption.
Okay, we have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Ryan, you have a second? I'll second. All in favor? None opposed.
Up next, we have our proposed budget of expenditures of tax levy for fiscal year beginning July 1, 2026 and including June 30, 2027, and our sample ballot. Every year we're required to approve a proposed budget of expenditures that's actually 2 fiscal years away. It's a state law. We work with our financial advisor, First Security Beardsley, to ensure we are compliant with the law. We are also asking for the sample ballot to be approved for the upcoming school election. Last month, we discussed the 2.1 mil rollback for our community. The budget and sample ballot reflect the millage rollback from 47.2 to 45.1. The one thing on the sample ballot that's not on there, we haven't had the window for people to state that they're running or not for the school board election, so that part's blank, but we won't know that part until this is hard to do. So we're well in compliance. Are there any questions? Okay. With that, I'd like to make a recommendation to adopt the attached proposed budget of expenditures with tax levy for fiscal year beginning July 1, 2026 to and including June 30, 2027, and to approve the related sample ballot.
Okay. We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
Y'all motion.
Motion by Eric, second.
I'll second.
Second by Ryan. All in favor? None opposed?
The wording to that recommendation wasn't to me.
Yeah.
That was a long one.
It was.
Up next, we have, personnel.
All right. It is 7:10 and we will go into executive session.